What if we stopped working? Think about it. What would happen if today we just didn't rock up work? What do you think would happen if today everyone just decided to stop?
Order into chaos. You know? Order into chaos.
Chaos. What do you think? My answer is that things would blow up into total chaos. Shops would go empty. I see our streets also having less cars and people, as most will be spending time at home rather. You will have no reason to leave your home other than kids wanting to play or adults wanting to visit friends. But the question still stands. What if we stopped working? Not only would it be boring, but there's something very interesting I want to share about it. Wait for it. Not yet. Wait. There it is. Can we get any closer to not working? Let's dive in. Meeting new people, you have certainly been asked what you do for a living. Well, jokes aside, I make YouTube videos. The truth is, I have no friends. All alone. Nothing. No one. Just kidding.
I'm just kidding.
Moving on. The question, what do you do for a living, does demonstrate at least one thing about humans. The importance of work in our lives. Work does tend to evolve around our daily and personal lives throughout all the years. But it doesn't have to be. Since the start of COVID, many countries have started trials of rather than working Monday to Friday, these 5-day work weeks have been changed to 4 days instead. Which countries, you may ask? Well, the United Arab Emirates was the first country to start a 4-day week, offering a work-from-home option on Fridays. Other countries like Japan, New Zealand, Iceland, Finland, and a few others. Let's have a look at it. In June 2021, Japan's government has urged employers to adopt the new initiative program, which is a better work-life balance. Employers were skeptical about the program for obvious reasons, but Microsoft Japan has shown a staggering productivity growth of 39% since the adoption of 4-day weeks.
I hope that this election, New Zealand has shown that this is not who we are.
New Zealand's Prime Minister announced a 4-day week trial 2 years ago, with only a handful of companies actually trying it. Perpetual Guardian tried the strategy since 2018 in a 6-week trial and found that their productivity has gone up by 20%. Makes sense, right? Think about it. The longer hours you work, the less productive you are. Why? Because you tire yourself out. With the 4-day week, you will have more rest, be more productive, but each hour added to your job is less beneficial to the employer, wasting more money to pay for someone less productive. Got it? Right, let's try and see. What if we went even further? Let's answer some of your questions. What is work? Why is work such a big deal for some people? And why could it not be? People just don't have to work so bloody hard. Going political. People would obviously choose the party who would make their lives easier. But in countries like America, there is no indication that this will happen.
We have to get back to work. Our people want to work. They want to go back.
But it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. As of 2022, the South African 4-day week collaborated with 4-day week Global and has announced a new 4-day working pioneer pilot starting in 2023.
This morning, a 4-day work week sounds like a dream come true.
Well, a 4-day work week may soon be coming to South Africa,
where employees at participating companies will work 80% of their current hours for 100% of their current pay, in return for 100% output. What does this mean for South Africans? Well, let's say this. Load shedding is a huge problem everywhere in SA, which makes it very attractive to squeeze in more productivity in less time. This means when load shedding hits, you've made up for that lost time. But now, the company will also have less expenses. For some, less sick days, and less temporary employee expenses. For unemployment, organizations will be encouraged to hire more people with the money they saved on the 4-day weeks. Reduced pollution from traveling, and also a great benefit to single mothers who will have less expenses on childcare, less employee burnout and being overworked. It has so many possibilities. Excited? I am for sure. This trial will start in February 2023 with the deadline October 2022. Each participating company will receive an impact assessment specific to the organization, which is based on productivity and worker well-being metrics determined before the start date. In January and February 2023, baseline metrics will be established. Then, between February and July 2023, participating companies will drop work hours by a fifth and see what happens. Anyways, let's move on. Work is the effect we have on the world. It is using your mental and physical effort to achieve something. In today's life, work is very essential. We have come to understand how to use everyday work as part of life, like seeing a doctor when you are sick, hiring a plumber to fix your toilet, having a farmer who produces food to the world. Without these physical efforts from people, sustaining life would be very hard today. To have a complete idle life, think about it. How would it turn out? Some work just needs to be done. This brings us to the subreddit movement of anti-work.
Joining me now is the person who operates this anti-work group, Doreen Ford. All right, so Doreen, why do you like the idea of being home, not working, but still getting paid by corporate America?
Unemployment for all, not just the rich. How about a slogan like that? Yeah.
So there's some misconceptions about the movement. So we're a movement where we want to reduce the amount of work that people feel like they're forced to do. And so we want to still put in effort, we want to put in labor, but we don't want to necessarily be in a position where we feel trapped.
Posts on the forum describe employees' negative experiences at work, dissatisfaction with working conditions, and unionization. The popularity of anti-work increased in 2020 and 2021, and the subreddit gained 900,000 subscribers in 2021 alone, accumulating nearly 1.7 million subscribers by the end of the year. How about that, huh? This interview sparked a lot of controversy amongst the subreddits, but the movement has since changed and no longer accepts interviews unless otherwise agreed amongst members and moderators. Their goal is not to work as much as possible, but as little as possible to achieve what we want, to maximize leisure and the quality of that leisure by balancing that interest with the necessity of work. Why? Because the goal is to work for things that matter and on good terms. If life only worked this way, right? Wrong. If we want access to the things we need to live, we will need to work. Take food as one big problem. If farmers did not work, who would provide food? Not everyone is capable of producing this. What about shelter? If builders stopped working, where would one live? Take women as an example. They would not be able to or are less able to build a comfortable home like we see today in our modern life. The only way to get these basic necessities in life is to work. Consider the amount of time we are thinking about not working, whether it is dreaming of that Bora Bora Island vacation, or fantasizing of winning the lottery and quitting your job, or simply just buying an ironic item. We all just want to stop working so much, but given a chance, some may even still want to work, even if they don't need to. For example, look at some people who've retired. They may continue working purely out of boredom. Or big entrepreneurs. They want to work even when they're not required to. Does this mean we like to work? Well, no. It all depends. Ask yourself this. Would you want to work if this job was pointless to you? Simply put, no. No one would want to work if it was pointless. Finding meaning in your work, would put drive in you. What is your talent and what do you like doing? Do you like blogging or writing, painting or drawing, photography or videography? Self-actualizing is at the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is where you realize your potential. The tendency to actualize itself as fully as possible is the basic drive. The drive of self-actualization. And of course, there's some work that produces something of importance. These kind of obvious factors give work meaning and add to basic human needs. A large number of people all over the world think their jobs are useless and does not have any point or meaningful contribution to the world. But what is work anyway? Over 142 countries, only 13% of workers actually like their jobs. A recent poll amongst Brits revealed that as many as 37% think they have a job that is utterly useless. They have what we refer to as bullshit jobs. On paper, these jobs appear fantastic. Let's just get one thing straight. We're not talking about nurses, doctors, teachers, etc. We refer to consultants, bankers, tax advisors and others who earn their money in strategic trans-sector peer-to-peer meetings to brainstorm the value add on co-creation in the network society, or something to that effect. So, will there still be enough jobs for everyone a few decades from now? Anybody who fears mass unemployment underestimates capitalism's extraordinary ability to generate new bullshit jobs. In simple, with all the evolving technology and robots replacing jobs, we will just have to rethink our definition of work. The paradox of progress. It starts with the question, what is the meaning of life? Most people will say the meaning of life is to make the world a little more beautiful, or nicer, or more interesting. But how? Work. Our definition of work, however, is incredibly narrow. Only the work that generates money is allowed to count. No wonder then that we have organized education around feeding as many people as possible in bite-sized, flexible parcels into the employment establishment. Yet, what happens when a growing proportion of people deemed successful by this measure say their work is pointless? That's one of the biggest problems. Our whole system of finding meaning could dissolve like smoke. Call it the paradox of progress. The richer we become, the more room we have to waste our time. That's not even the whole picture. The 8 to 9 hours spent every day at work by millions of people, between 1.5 and 3 of them is spent on private activities. Employers call this wasted time, as it is not really the purpose of being at your job. These workers are still pretending to being productive during these hours of work. This stolen time is a form of worker resistance, but the majority of it comes from having nothing to do, forced to keep up the appearance of calling someone who really does not want to talk to you, because that is what your boss expects. The irony of you are not free to do what you want, but you aren't really working either. And when people are working, not stealing the employer's time, usually a majority are working on pointless, mind-numbing tasks like copy-pasting the same data from one sheet to another.
Hi. What are you doing?
Really boring work.
This makes up a large amount of people who waste their lives behind computers, sleeping during the day and working throughout the night, standing for long hours in the same room. For what? To make someone else feel good or add to their wallet and making sure everyone else knows how important they are? Your bullshit job robs you of your life. The point is, we're working too hard. If we distribute the workload and the benefits more evenly, people will work a lot less. Wait, what's this? Oh yes, and social. Apart from politics between the right and the left, another way to attach meaning to exploitative work is motivation. Instead of thinking of work as work, some people would take their idle time and turn it into income. Clearly, people wouldn't think their jobs was meaningless if there wasn't some truth to it. If there was enough work to do, people wouldn't spend so much time on personal activities or stealing time. But for about 40 years, the 40-hour week hasn't changed at all. Although many technologies have grabbed the work out of our hands, Where it used to take us a full day to accomplish something, today it can take us only a few hours to accomplish the same thing. Automation have changed the way we work today, giving us more time to do things we really love to do. Now we can use this new free time to create new jobs or things that we love, where we would normally be stuck at work. Automation have given us the chance to take on new work, which does actually improve our quality of life. But don't let this make you ignore how to improve your life today. So don't try to justify useless jobs and satisfying the fact that everyone has to work and therefore adding to your employer's wallet. Anyway, back on track. Let's add to the question. How close can we get to not working at all? Taking the people of South Africa who believe their jobs are completely pointless. Reducing their 40-hour week to a 32-hour week is pretty good if you ask me. It makes sense if we can go beyond the productivity maximization. Adding to this, what if we take the 1.5 to 3 hours of productivity being wasted every day, add it all up,
120,000.
and we end up working a 27 to 33 hour work week. Pretty good, isn't it? But these are just numbers from studies and can't add to a full statistical workday in total. It is just a small way of quickly looking at it in a simple way. Most employers, when they write your contract, will add your weekly hours to the maximum, which is set out by the government, and the only reason it's not higher is all thanks to the angry people who strikes. Were it not for the militant workers, we will still be pushing it at 12-hour days. Why should this only change through mass anger, violence, and fear of society to make them realize and abide by us? It shouldn't be like this. Where only two people decide how you work and for how long, an agreement is usually one-sided as the employer knows you are in need of his help. He can just find someone else. Pretty easy for them. Clearly, the better way is to work for desire and necessity, and to decide together the needs and allocations of resources, finding common grounds. We all should have a say how much time is spent at work and how much at leisure. Disentangle work from necessities will mean we can sit down and think of how we can benefit all, not just the company and governments. As if you may seem not to work as hard, you will feel threatened by your employer of being replaced by someone who seemed to work hard. This can stop certain people to profit off of others' hard work and claiming our free time for their pleasure. It will stop the dictatorship type of system in companies where the boss decides how long we work based on how urgent he wants to buy his new house. My video is not about being against work or going back to BC times.
We live in a primitive time, don't we, Will?
It is all about giving more time for us to live a better and more human life. How it should be, not how someone wants it to be. Working 1 hour less a day would certainly not change the way society works. One less coffee making an hour would not shut down Earth. This is just to have more time at our disposal. In South Africa, we sit with the great problem of load shedding, and it doesn't seem to be changing for the better. Having less hours to get your work done is already kinda imprinted in South Africans for having to finish work before load shedding starts. This can also give us the chance of using those load shedding hours in a way that we, the people, the hard workers, also benefit. Together, we can build a world where work is not so pointless. And most of all, fair to all of us. And that's it for this video. If you really enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like. If you hated it, also drop a like. And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to be notified of any new uploads. Thanks for watching. See you next time.